I have a 57-year-old male who was seen today with chronic pyelonephritis due to gram-negative bacteria. So I wanted to go through and code these together. So what would we code here? Right, we're telling the story. So what we're coding is pyelonephritis, and then it's due to gram-negative bacteria. So the first thing we're going to look up is pyelonephritis. You guys all have your book. I'm on page 271. And under pyelonephritis, my documentation says it's chronic, right? So I'm going to go down to C to chronic, and I can pick with calculus, associated, non-obstructive, or obstructive, or specified. Well, ours is specified, right? Because it says gram-negative bacteria. So I want the specified, not elsewhere classified code in 11.8. And so once you look up your code, right, we always verify it in the tabular. So I'm going to look up in 118 in the tabular. Which is on page 824. So once you get to the tabular, you always look for those notes, or if you need to add an additional character to the code. And at the top of our category in 11, it tells us use additional code B95 to B97 to identify infectious agent. So we know we need to also code the infectious agent if our documentation specified what it was. Well, ours did, right? It said it was gram-negative. So now I need to go to infection and find my code for gram-negative. Okay, so hopefully you guys are in the index, and under infection, if I go to gram-negative, bacilli gives me an A code. And I know from early on that A codes are if I'm just coding the infection, not in a disease classified elsewhere. So I can't use that code because my disease is classified elsewhere in the pyelonephritis. So what I'm going to do now is just go to bacteria instead of looking for gram-negative. So under bacteria, I would do as cause of disease classified elsewhere, which is B96.89. I'm on page 183. Hopefully you guys can see that. So now I'm going to flip to my B96.89 and see if there's anything I need to verify or do to that code in the tabular. Do you guys have any questions about that one? Did it make sense how our codes are in 11.8 for the pyelonephritis and B96.89 for the gram-negative bacteria? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, let's go to the next one. So this one, I have a 72-year-old male discharged today after a 3-day stay with secondary diabetes due to chronic pancreatitis. pancreatitis with a mature senile cataract. So I have three different things going on here, right? My patient has secondary diabetes mellitus, chronic pancreatitis, and a mature senile cataract. So the secondary diabetes mellitus is due to the chronic pancreatitis. So we're going to code the due to first. The coding guidelines tell us to code the due to condition first. So I'm going to go to pancreatitis and then chronic. So on page 246, pancreatitis and then chronic, we see code K86.1. So let's go verify that code in the index. I'm going to go to K86.1. And it tells me other chronic pancreatitis. And there's not any includes or excludes notes there, right? Okay, so we're going to assign that code. And now we're going to code the secondary diabetes. So now in your index, look up diabetes. And it was due to pancreatitis. So on page 98 of our index, we can do diabetes due to underlying condition. So that's what we want, is the underlying condition, which is E08.9. So now we're going to flip to E08.9. In the tabular and see if there's anything special that we have to do with the code, any includes notes, excludes notes. E08.9 is on page 513 in your ICD-10-CM book, and it says diabetes mellitus due to underlying condition without complications. Yep, ours didn't document any complications, so we're going to code that. So our second code is E08.9. And now we still have to code the mature senile cataract. So now we're going to go to C, to cataract. And then under cataract, we want to do senile. Which is H25.9. I'm on page 51. So we're going to take that H25.9 and again verify in the tabular by looking it up, seeing if anything is around that code that we need to do. So H25.9 on page 593, the tabular, unspecified age-related cataract. That's what we want to do because we don't know where it was, which we're not really sure any more information. So H25.9 would be appropriate. So for this case, we have three codes. K86.1, E08.9, and H25.9. Okay, I know I'm past the hour, so if anybody wants to leave, that's fine, but I do have this practice case number 3, which is a 62-year-old teen for sigmoid colon carcinoma with metastatic implants on her liver. So we're going to go to the neoplasm table to code this, right? So in the neoplasm table, the sigmoid colon is part of the large intestine. So you have to understand your anatomy once you get to this table. So under neoplasm, I'm going to go to intestine to large. I'm on page 337, and then I'm going to go down to sigmoid. And that's the primary site. Sigmoid colon carcinoma was primary, and metastatic, meaning it moved to the liver. So in the first column, for malignant primary, I'm going to code C18.7 for the sigmoid colon cancer, right? Did you guys see that? C18.7. So let's flip to that in the tabular. See if there's anything special we need to do with that code. C18.7, that's on page 464. Malignant neoplasm of sigmoid colon. There's not any special notes there, so we're fine. Now we have to code the secondary site, which is the liver. So we're going to go back to the table, and under neoplasm table, we're going to go to L, to liver. And we don't want to pick a primary site. We don't want to pick the primary column. We want to pick the secondary column, which malignant secondary for the liver is C78.7. You guys see that? So now we're going to flip to C78.7. See if there's any special includes or excludes notes. And it just says secondary malignant neoplasm of liver and intrahepatic bile duct. There's not any includes or excludes notes that pertain to us, so that would be our code. C18.7 for the sigmoid colon cancer, and C78.7 for the metastatic liver cancer. Okay, and I have one more practice case, and then we're done. So this one is a patient seen with anemia due to blood loss from a chronic gastric ulcer. So the coding guidelines tell us that we would code the anemia first. So in the index, we're going to go to A, to anemia. And then we want to pick blood loss because our anemia is caused from blood loss. So under anemia, I'm on page 18. I'm going to go down to where I see blood loss, and it gives me the code D50.0. So I'm going to pick D50.0. And I'm going to go to the tabular, look at that code, see what the excludes notes are. So on page 500 is the tabular for D50.0, iron deficiency anemia secondary to blood loss, or it's called post-hemorrhagic anemia. It's the same word, and it excludes if we were coding acute post-hemorrhagic anemia or congenital anemia, which we're not coding either of those, so that'll be fine. So D50.0 is our first code. Now we need to code the ulcer. So now we will look up ulcer. In the index, we're coding a gastric ulcer, which is another name for gastric is stomach, right? So once we get to ulcer, if you go to gastric, it tells you to see also stomach. So we're going to go to stomach. And we can pick with or acute or chronic, and we want to pick the chronic because our scenario says chronic gastric ulcer. And then it has with hemorrhage, which is what we want to pick because our patient is bleeding so much that they have anemia, right? So we're going to pick with hemorrhage, and that code is K25.4. I'm on page 321 in the index, K25.4. So now we're going to verify that code in the tabular. which is on page 692, and it reads chronic or unspecified gastric ulcer with hemorrhage. So that's what we want. Okay, so those are the only practice cases I had today. Do you guys have any questions before we